The beautiful Queen Cersei and her wildfire eyes. Girl, you got them wildfire eyes. Oh, hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Brotherhood Without Manners, your favorite full spoiler reread podcast of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series. As always, I'm your host, Zach, and sitting here next to me is my brother, Nate.
What up, what up, what up, what up? I'm Nate, that's me.
If you've joined us before, thank you for coming back. If you've never joined us, we are full spoiler. This is your warning at the top of the show. We will ruin the series for you. If you enjoy spoilers, keep listening. But if not, go away, read the series, and come back. If you joined us last episode, we were reading Tyrion 13. We are in the midst of the Battle of Blackwater, folks.
It's we're in the middle of it. We saw some from Sansa initially. She opened it up by praying at the Sept, seeing Joffrey off. And then we got to experience the thick of it with Davos as the wildfire hulking ships exploded and launched all of Stannis' fleet.
Yep.
And when I say all of it, I mean not very many of them at all, because he still has like 40 galleys left to transfer troops from the South Bank over to the north.
Right.
And now, then we got to open up on Tyrion and see what was happening right after and during that a bit. And he was preparing to lead his sortie out the Mudgate because the Hound refused to do so. And finally, right after seeing that, which was kind of cool that we're getting that, Hound giving up on, fuck this, I'm not fighting for the king, I'm done working here. We go into Sansa and what she's doing.
Sansa 6 of A Clash of Kings. Last we had left Sansa. She was seeing Joffrey off before going to join Cersei and all the other highborn ladies at Maegor's Holdfast during this siege of King's Landing. And so
that's where they are.
That's where we pick up in Sansa 6. Despite the torches that were reflecting, because there were mirrors behind the sconces, as we learned last chapter, there was a darkness in the Queen's ballroom. She could see it in Sir Ilyn's pale eyes as he stood near the back door in the shadows.
And in the coughing from Lord Giles as he lays there practically dying. And
in Sir Osney Kettleblack's whispered tidings to the Queen. And the first time he had entered, Sansa had been eating, and
he sucks at whispering, because she's like, yeah, I heard everything he said.
Osney spoke first with his brother Osfrid, and then climbed up the dais and knelt before Cersei. And Sansa also notes the 4 scratches that are on his cheek from Alaya.
Hell yeah,
my girl. But for all his whispering, Sansa still heard. Fleets locked in battle, archers ashore, but the Hound is cutting them to pieces. Tyrion is raising his chain. Some drunks in Flea Bottom are smashing doors and windows. But Lord Jacelyn Bywater has sent the Gold Cloaks to deal with it.
Cersei's main concern, though, is Joffrey. What's going on with Joffrey? And so she... Yeah, that's basically all she addresses with him, and he tells her, he went off to the Sept of Baelor to get a blessing from the High Septon, and now he walks the walls with Tyrion, lifting the men's spirits and offering them praise and wisdom.
Fuck off.
Joffrey is not doing none of that. He's whining that he can't launch bitches out of the fucking
Cersei gestures for another cup of wine. She's Blackwater drunk.
So I actually, this is the only paragraph that I quoted because of how much I like this Blackwater drunk Cersei and what Sansa thinks about it. It says, Cersei beckoned to her page for another cup of wine, a golden vintage from the arbor, fruity and rich. The queen was drinking heavily, but the wine only seemed to make her more beautiful. Her cheeks were flushed, and her eyes had a bright, feverish heat to them as she looked down over the hall. Eyes of wildfire, Sansa thought. And is she aware that there was the wildfire in the hulks, do you think, before this? Is that common knowledge? Or is that a high-end Cersei, Tyrion, those in the fight are going to know about it, but that's about it?
No, I think at this point it's probably common knowledge that wildfire is being used.
But either way, I just like the idea of we're seeing how insane and how uncontrollable and mad and wild the wildfire is out there with Davos.
And Cersei is.
And then to have that look and to have her eyes compared to that especially.
Well, right. Cersei is getting scared here. She's concerned for as much bravado as she has. At the end of this chapter here, she reveals it that she's pretty certain that they're going to lose here. And so, yeah, I love how it makes her more beautiful the more wild and crazy she seems to be getting. But there was music playing. Moon Boy was lurching around on his stilts. Sir Dantos was chasing serving girls with his broomstick horse. The guests laughed, but it was joyless, and Sansa thinks their bodies are here, but their thoughts are on the city walls. Their hearts, too.
Yeah, why wouldn't they be?
Which, I just think it's an interesting contrast that Sansa is thinking of both hearts and minds, not just... Where Cersei's like, yeah, no, if the city should fall, my guards will probably betray me, yada, yada. She's being very practical about it, but Sansa's looking at both the hearts and minds of everybody fighting. But another dish comes down, and Sansa notes that all the food is flavored with fear. And she isn't the only one that seems to have no appetite.
This is the one dish that sounded kind of good to me. It was like fucking... I forget exactly what. There was like some cinnamon and like raisins and shit. It sounded pretty great. But yeah, she's again focused more on the people there. Giles coughing more than he is eating.
Yep.
Lawless is just sitting there hunched and quivering. There's a young knight's, one of Lancel's knights, the bride of him, is just sitting there weeping uncontrollably.
So Cersei's like, get her out and give her some dream wine. Put her to bed. I'm tired of that shit.
Done.
Tears, Cersei says scornfully, the woman's weapon. My lady mother used to call them. The man's weapon is a sword. That tells you all you need to know, doesn't it? And Sansa says, men must be brave, though. They ride out to sword and axe. Everyone trying to kill you. It must be terrifying.
Yeah, and she starts, and she's going to get more and more into it, her relationship with Jaime here. And I think this is some of the best Cersei chapters we'll get in the series for a while, or up to this point, because we got some with Ned, but that was basically a little bit with Tyrion here and there lately, but this one we're really getting some Cersei. She's a little drunk, she's fucking spewing some stuff, but she mentions that Jaime tells her that the only time he feels alive is in battle or in bed. And I don't know that Sansa necessarily picks up on it, but we know that Jaime's only ever been
with Cersei.
Right. And so it's just interesting that she is literally talking about her sexual relationship with her brother, Sansa, even if it's slightly ambiguous.
Right, well, like, Cersei's getting drunk. She's worried. She's towing the line here, like, to the point where she almost gets a little reckless, and I think that's what's sort of making her attractive and more beautiful is this sort of reckless.
And she says she would rather face any number of swords than sit here pretending to like these people. Mm-hmm. And Sansa's like, but you invited them here.
It was expected of me. I just thought of Lena Headey's performance in the show of when Sansa's like, you asked them here, Your Grace, and it was expected of me. Like, yeah, there's certain things expected of a queen. You had better learn them as well. If you ever hope to wed Joff, you best learn.
Yeah, she says basically, if Tyrion should manage a victory, the people will say how brave she was and certain of victory, offering protection to those who needed it. And Sansa's like, yeah, but what if the castle should fall?
You'd like that, wouldn't you? If I'm not betrayed by one of my guards, or all of my guards, then I may be able to hold here for a time. Then I can go to the walls and offer to yield to Lord Stannis in person, which would spare us the worst. But if Maegor's holdfast should fall before Stannis should come up, why then most of my guests would be in for a bit of a rape, I would expect.
And they probably would likely face torture and mutilation and murder as well. She says it all so nonchalantly. Now, it's almost easy to skip over, but it says Sansa is horrified.
Yeah.
Horrified.
And says that these are women, unarmed and gently born. And Cersei's like, well, true that their sex protects them a modicum, but each is worth a good ransom. But after the madness of battle, soldiers often want flesh more than coin. Better a golden shield than none. In the streets, women will be treated much more harshly. Same with the servants. Enough drink will make blind washerwomen and reeking pig girls seem as comely as you, sweetling.
Yeah, so she also, before she says that part, mentions Shay specifically. Yep. Brings Shay up, and I think that's interesting because she
thinks she has to.
Yeah, she thinks she has her with Elia, and now she's spotting that and being like, she's fairly attractive. Mm-hmm. And I think it's interesting that Cersei herself is noticing how attractive she is. Yeah. Just almost like to give credence to the fact that Tyrion's got a very attractive woman in his employ. But yeah, she says, and she puts it rough, she tells her that Shay is in for a lively night. basically saying she's attractive. She's gonna, and as Shay would put it, she's gonna get fucked tonight.
Yeah.
Because that's what she said happened to Lawless, but
Right.
she's gonna get raped like a bunch. But yeah, then she says to as sweet as Sansa, and Sansa's like, me? What?
Yeah, try not to sound so like a mouse, Sansa. You're a woman now and betrothed to my firstborn. Were it anyone else, I might hope to beguile them, but this is Stannis Baratheon, and I've a better chance of seducing his horse. And noticing Sansa's shocked face, she asks, have I shocked you, my lady? You little fool. Tears are not a woman's only weapon. You've one between your legs, and you'd best learn to use it. Men use their swords freely enough. Both kinds of swords.
Yeah, so she's being very blatant with Sansa right now. And it's lessons that if you, subscribe to our Patreon and have listened to our Mercy episode, that we express a little dismay, a little surprise at when these girls, Sansa, Arya, Jane Poole, even
Are
all
using
these
sex
are,
as a weapon.
Yeah, learning to wield it. Especially since Cersei's right now already telling Sansa, like, get ready to use it. And I don't think she has at this point in where we are in Dance with Dragons. Sansa's still fairly...
Oh, no, Sansa hasn't weaponized sex yet. She's still learning the intricacies of lying. But 2 Kettle Blacks enter the hall at this point. Sir Osmond and his brothers had become favorites around the castle, getting on as well with grooms and huntsmen as they did with squires and knights. And of late, it was rumored that Sir Osmond had taken Sandor Clegane's place at Joffrey's side, and the women at the well gossiped that he was as strong as the Hound, only younger and faster. Yet Sansa wonders why she had never heard of these Kettle Blacks before Osmond was named to the Kingsguard, if that were true.
So, I don't know how to Z-snap, but goddamn.
Sansa's the Queen of Shade.
Yeah, so...
Queen of Shade. Don't fuck with the Hound, 1, because Sansa will fuck you up, but 2, Queen of Shade.
Dude,
who are these nobodies? I've never heard of them. Like, I've
What-
heard of Jaime Lannister. I've heard of Sir Arthur Dayne. I've heard of Barristan Selmy. I've heard of Gerald Hightower. Never fucking heard of Osford Osborne Kettleblack. Yeah.
Yeah, they're nothing. They're nobodies. And she's so, like, once again, just right on it, where she's like, who are you?
That rumor mill, though.
The fuck are you?
But as the rumor mill churns, we are going to churn our way to our small council.
Nice segue.
Thank you.
Great. You can clearly see we're professionals at what we do.
Obviously.
We'll see you in the small council. This is the small council.
Hey.
And this is where Nate usually gives all of the socials and ways
Right.
for you to contact us, such as our email, withoutmannersbrotherhood@gmail.com. That's slowed down a little bit. withoutmannersbrotherhood@gmail.com.
What a cunt.
I know, I'm kind of an asshole. We're also available on all the social medias. Zach handles the Instagram from time to time @mannerswithout, which also happens to be my Twitter @mannerswithout. Zach is on Twitter, but is fairly inactive because he's lazy as fuck, man.
Whoa.
Get on my level, dog.
I do D&D stuff, man.
All
I
right,
don't have
I'll give you
time
an
to be
excuse.
sitting on Twitter.
His Twitter is @carstark92. We also have the Facebook, facebook.com/Brotherhood Podcast. We are working on some premium content for Patreon. It's a little lagging behind. There was some COVID issues so within the family, and those are...
Maybe you've heard of it?
It's a thing going around in our area. I don't know if it's in your area, but if it is, it affected us pretty directly.
Right.
And so we apologize, patrons. We are getting stuff to you as soon as possible.
Right.
But that's patreon.com/withoutmanners. What else am I missing here? Am I missing anything that you can think of?
No, I don't have any on hand to read currently, as I don't have my phone to read from, but... Keep the YouTube comments coming. We're seeing a lot of traffic there, and we love all the discussion that we're seeing there.
Similar, if we haven't responded,
Right.
We've been busy with the
We'll
COVID
get back to
stuff.
you eventually. We
Yes.
always are checking the YouTube, so...
Rate us, review us,
That'd be
subscribe
sick.
everywhere you can. We love it so much. Right now, if you go to the Podcast Awards 2020, you can nominate us for
Oh, shit.
Best Comedy Podcast 2020.
Do we
Brotherhood
make you
Without
laugh?
Manners.
I hope we make you
So
laugh.
share us to your friends, tell them all about it, and you just have to enter your email address. this, and that's it. And they don't send you stupid shit unless you ask for them to send you that stuff. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Win, win, win.
Like,
That's
win,
3
win,
win.
Win.
All
I'm
right,
adding a fourth one. I was adding a fourth.
We're
Lots
done.
of win.
We're done.
Thank you. Write into us. Get us your inductees and all that, and we'll let you get back to Sansa because, yo, what a fucking chapter.
Cersei's drunk.
Blackwater drunk.
So Osney is all smiles as he is kneeling before Queen Cersei.
Now, I feel like he reminds me of a few different characters. For those who have been listening to us for a while, know I just finished it a month or two ago.
Hey!
And he reminds me of the character Patrick Hofstadter.
Oh, the psycho?
Yeah, where he's just like, he's all excited over the car.
Right.
My queen! Everything's on fire.
Yeah, the Blackwater is awash in fire.
He just seems like that fucking psycho
and that's what it
doofus to
is.
me.
He's all smiles because he thinks victory is assured because the Blackfire is on fire, where you get people who are smart and battle tactical like Tyrion, who understand this is a half victory.
Right.
We didn't achieve shit really here.
Not as much
we
as we
delayed
wanted.
the inevitable. But he, of course, is like, ha, and reports that, the Blackfire is a fire.
But just like the previous time.
What about Joffrey? Where's Joffrey?
And he's like, Joffrey went to the Mudgate with Tyrion. He's giving tips on crossbow. A right proper lad there, my queen. A right proper lad.
Yeah, he'd best remain alive, lad. And she turns to the taller, sterner Osfrid and just goes, yes, because he's staring at her, and I love it. Yes?
I feel like he's shifting.
Do you have something to fucking report? And his face is grim, as he does report that a groom and 2 maidservants were caught trying to sneak off with 3 of the king's horses, your grace. And Cersei, it seems like almost Joffrey excited about it.
She's getting very savage right here. She's like, great.
The first of the night's traitors, as I expected. They won't be the last. Cool. Fucking kill them, cut off their heads, put them on spikes outside the stables.
She sends Ellen Payne after. Get Ellen to take their heads. I want their heads mounted so that everyone can see what we do to traitors.
As a warning.
She turns to Sansa here and tells her, there's a lesson to be learned here, my dear. You must rule with fear, or else they will continue to be traitors or some other bullshit that's not true stuff.
Be gentle on a night like this, and treasons will pop up like mushrooms after a hard rain. The only way to keep people loyal is to make certain they fear you more than they do the enemy. And Sansa says, I will remember, your grace, but thinks she had heard that love was a surer route to loyalty than fear.
Yes.
Thinking of her father has to be thinking of Ned Stark.
Absolutely.
And thinks, if I am ever a queen, I'll make them love me.
Let's discuss this briefly. Now, as you mentioned,
the ultimate foreshadowing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Sansa's going to be fucking queen, and she's going to have the adoration of the public.
Right. Yes.
I feel is her.
Because the only thing I could possibly see is Martin, if it happens to grow that way, twisting it completely on the opposite end, where she's the mad queen.
She becomes Littlefinger-esque.
She becomes the absolute psycho, narcissistic.
But
now, I don't foresee that. I want to mention the Ned stuff about here. We know that anybody in the North that knew Ned either loved him or respected him.
Right.
And respect, that's...
Not necessarily feared.
It's not fear.
Right.
It's respect. What else can you call it besides that? But it's almost an appreciation of love in its own right. That, I love the honor that you're withholding between us and between your people. And he was feared, but again, it was that more out of love, because we know that he will do what's right and just because he knows that that's what has to happen. And so nobody technically feared Ned Stark unless they were doing shit they shouldn't be doing anyway. And so to be raised in that environment, what else would she think but the love? And then to be going into this fucking snake pit and seeing what the opposite is like with the fear.
I've been thinking about this a lot, but I really think Martin's doing some shit here. With the title of the book, The Clash of Kings, the title that this war gets, The War of the Five Kings. When what I really think is happening here is this should be more aptly titled The Positioning of the Five Queens.
No shit.
Because it's Cersei, Sansa, Dany, Marjorie, and Melisandre, who all come up and become present in this book. We've learned a lot about Marjorie's marriage to Renly, Melisandre with Stannis, Dany,
well, that's why Littlefinger
Sansa,
went to
and
treat
Cersei,
is
right?
The Marjorie stuff,
and they're all positioning where they're going. Cersei's absolute hatred that she's not a man and able to do the same things societally and power-wise that men do. Sansa learning these lessons directly from Cersei, who is bitter and angry.
Right.
Sansa committing to herself that instead of the power, she wants to be a queen that's loved.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be a queen that's ruled by fear,
Now,
which is even something that Dany has never said. Dany doesn't walk around thinking, I'll be queen and I'll make them love me.
That just happens.
It'll be fire and blood, right? It'll be, I'll rule, and I'll be kind because I'm Daenerys Targaryen.
Now, the one thing I think is worth pointing out in the way that it's phrased, the way Martin wrote that is, I will make them love me.
Right.
Now, is that a dark twist to that?
No, I think it's I will earn their love. I'll make them love me by giving...
I'll earn their loyalty.
Obviously, it's vague language, so it could go, Mad Queen, I'll make you love me, or I'll make them love me by showing them a queen they can absolutely love. And I think it's super interesting that we're getting the positioning of these different
early on.
Female players, of Melisandre, of Marjorie.
Well, because look at the kings.
Right. The kings are
Balon,
a fucking mess.
Dead. Rob, dead.
The kings
Joffrey,
are fucking
dead.
everything up right now.
Dead. Stannis is the only
and
one
it's
alive.
the women that are sort of pulling those strings.
Right,
it's Melisandre being like, ha 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 ha, and Cersei being like, hee hee hee, Joffrey, and Marjorie
I don't know that
like,
Marjorie's
hey.
doing too... I think Elena's moving a lot of pieces
Right.
down there right now, but... obviously
that's
we
why
haven't
I
learned
said
that,
the
but-
positioning, not the war of, because it
absolutely.
is. We're just now learning more about the prominence of Marjorie.
But that's
and
what's
her
so
marriage
interesting
to
is
Renly.
that,
and Mel.
This book, Clash of Kings, titled such, they're all 5 kings. Of them, only one lives where we're currently at.
What is
Dance of
the
Dragons.
stupid fucking saying behind every great man is a woman, and I think
she,
that's the flip here.
Whereas
The men aren't great.
Not show. We're not talking show here.
No,
book
fuck.
canon, every one of those women is alive and well.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. Olenna, even if we bunch her in
Right,
with
right,
Marjorie,
right.
Olenna
Well,
and
Catelyn
Marjorie,
could even be bunched in
even-
there with Rob and everything.
to-
Not
I mean,
Catelyn being
Stoneheart,
queen, but
like,
Rob is one of the kings.
Yeah,
that
but
is
that woman
failing,
presence,
that
that's-
is
yeah.
fucking up, and he would not be as good as he is right now without Catelyn in
and
his
technically
corner.
speaking, the only time he made the most massive mistake was when Cat was not by his side.
And so it's this interesting, these men are the ones with the power, but all the women behind them are the ones that are thinking and using their fucking brains, regardless of if it's Cersei, selfish, fuck everybody but me and mine, or if it's Sansa, I'll make them love me.
Yeah, and that's
thing.
not to say that Littlefinger and Tyrion and Varys aren't doing their
Aren't
stuff.
players.
But they're not
The kings,
queen.
right?
Like, they're
it's
not
the kings. The
immediate-
ones who are vying for king are fucking up. Rob is off marrying a Westerling.
Right.
Stannis is doing black magic. Joffrey is fucking Joffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Balon has his stupid son, Theon, and a stupid fucking claim. Balon is shit and always has been, always will be.
Yeah,
Fight
you're
me.
not Euron, dude.
Don't
Get
at
outta
me,
here.
right.
You fucking...
And so it's the kings are shit. It's the fucking queen. Like, the women need to rule this country. But anyway, we went on a whole fucking spiel there.
Anyway, after a few more servings,
More
we
food
get to
comes.
the last,
Lawless
pukes all over, and she's pregnant.
over
so it's
her
like,
and Felice.
Her and Felice.
But
and,
Sansa says that she ate too much, like making it sound like she just and then blah.
Well, because Sansa knows that she's rumored to be pregnant.
Right.
Is that she's aware? No, she ate too much, but maybe she only took a little bite, and that was too much. But it doesn't really.
Lord Giles coughed, drank, until he passed out. And Cersei just regards him with disgust.
Well, yeah, because she demanded his release.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What? Why was manhood wasted
Yeah,
on
the
me?"
manhood.
Like, and it's she.
It could have gone to me.
And it's going.
I could have had his
because
penis.
I mean, it's clearly going to show the unfair lack of equality between men and women, and how she's so certain. If I was a man, I'd be king.
Right.
I would be the fucking ruler of everything.
Who run the world, girls? Yeah. And I must have been mad to have demanded his release. And so Osford returns and reports that rich merchants have gathered in the square. Not a mob, not peasants.
Now,
asking to take some refuge in the castle.
I think this is much more. You had mentioned earlier when she had the traitors. Those were traitors, technically speaking, to the king. She tells him, tell these merchants, and they're rich merchants. It's not like they're just common folk. He emphasizes they're not a mob.
No, right, they're Americans.
They're rich merchants.
They're just rich merchants, right, yep.
And obviously, like, I'm not...
No. And Cersei tells them, go back to your homes.
And if they don't listen, pop them full of some crossbow bolts.
Rubber bullets, or crossbows, yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here.
Crossbows, kill a few of them. I will not have the gates opened for any reason.
No, absolutely not.
So Osford bows and leaves and is like, yeah, sure. So Cersei's face is hard and angry.
So real quick, because why I mentioned that, Joffrey, during the bread riots, sat up on top of the fucking walls, popping people with crossbow bolts, just because they were there asking for bread while they're in there feasting.
Right.
And so I was just like, no wonder
these are actual, I mean, if you want to look at it from the fucked up lens Cersei is, these are actual contributing members of society, people who have gold,
right.
And she's still saying, no, go kill a few of them if they don't go the fuck back to their house.
Yeah, they're not highborn. They're just good, rich merchants.
Right.
Fuck them.
So yeah, Cersei's face is hard and angry. She begins to slur her words a little bit and says, would that I could take a sword to their necks myself. When we were little, Jaime and I looked so much alike we would often in jest swap clothes and trade places. Yet when Jaime was given his first sword, there was none for me. We were so, and this actually made me feel for Cersei. We were so alike, I never understood why they treated us differently. Jaime learned to fight, I learned to sing and pray. He was heir to Casterly Rock, I was to be sold to some stranger like a horse, to be ridden, beaten, or discarded as they pleased. Jaime's lot was glory and power. Mine was birth and moon blood.
Now, the first, and again, I
didn't understand it.
It makes me feel that much more empathetic towards Ned, because he did get lessons for Arya to wield a sword.
Right.
Like, it's that. Why couldn't she, man?
Yeah.
Why didn't you give her, like, because
Tywin.
Tywin's a fucking son of a bitch,
yeah.
and, just, I always compare him with Randall Tarley, but they're just those fucking...
This is the way it is.
Those fucking pig-headed, gross...
the world is full of them currently, IRL, of those changes, scary, we don't want things to change, this is the way the structure's been, women... give birth and have their period and bleed all over stuff.
Boomers.
Right, exactly. It's
boomers,
that fucking...
Not sorry. Anyway.
It's that mentality. Change is scary and women have their place.
Yeah, and so, like, she absolutely, if she was... Because if she had trained from day one, who's to say she wouldn't be as good, if not better, than Jaime Lannister?
The brother, the twin siblings of Lannister from Crit Roll. The twin Lannister twins.
Like, it could have been tight as fuck.
Right.
Like, there's no reason that it couldn't have happened if those two were badass sword-wielding sons of bitches.
But Sansa, in response, says, but you were queen of the Seven Kingdoms. And she says, when it comes to swords, a queen is only a woman, after all. Again. So, yeah, when it comes down to it, a queen is a woman. The king has to say over the queen. Queen ain't got no power.
Now, can I bring up a few of the past Targaryen rulers, though? Because haven't there been a few queens in Targaryen history who have absolutely ruled, both in both ways, with love and with fear, that have both, to some extent, been fairly successful?
Right. History is a hard one to touch on with the Game of Thrones. Because, there's, I mean, you get, like, good Queen Alicent and Nymeria and... the other,
well, that's even mentioned in Aegon's two sister wives, Rhaenys and Visenya.
Right, yeah.
She was like a Stannis and a fucking this soft Marjorie type, but absolutely, yeah, I get.
Cersei's cup is empty again, but she refuses more, saying she must keep a clear head. And so the last course is being served as Osney enters again, reporting that Stannis has landed men on the tourney grounds, the Mudgate is under attack, and they're ramming the King's Gate. The imp has gone out to drive them off. And Cersei just says, well, that will fill them with fear. He hasn't taken Joffrey out, I hope. And he says, no, your grace, the king is at the whores, flinging antler men into the river. And Cersei kind of loses it.
Yeah, right. She's like, that. If they're storming the Mudgate, then that's not safe, and there's no reason he needs to be wasting time uselessly throwing men. No,
he needs to get him back into the castle.
Back in the castle.
And Osfred,
but
Osmond,
the imp said
I don't care. It is what I said that ought to concern you. Your brother will do as he's told, or he'll lead the next sortie, and you'll go with him. Fucking Jesus, I'll send you out to the burning river. So he goes, and after the meal, many guests are like, asking leave to go to the Sept to pray. And Cersei graciously grants their request.
Yeah.
Graciously.
Get the fuck out of here.
Lady Tonda and her daughters were among those who leave. And for those remaining, a singer begins to sing. And he sings songs of Jonquil and Florian,
Daemon and the Dragon Knight.
Prince Aemon the Dragon Knight, and his love for his brother's queen, of Nymeria's 10,000 ships. Beautiful songs, but terribly sad. Several women wept, and Sansa's own eyes grew moist. I'd like to just point out that Jonquil and Florian and Prince Aemon
were the two
that Cersei was giving Sansa shit for.
Yeah, saying, wait, I'm sure it's only a matter of time before they'll be here to get you.
Cersei, noticing Sansa's eyes growing moist, leans in and says, very good. You'll want to practice those tears for King Stannis. And
what?
Continues saying, matters must be dire if they need the dwarf to lead them, so you might as well take off your mask. I know of your little treasons in the Godswood.
Dude, Sansa keeps the coolest head here that I can think.
But is panicking.
Oh, absolutely.
And
now
thinking,
she freaks
don't look at Dantos. Don't look at Dantos.
That she has the presence of mind. Like, she just said, I know of your treasons in the Godswood. And it's like... Of course
it's Cersei being extra.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know.
Right.
But
to keep that head and be like, don't look at him.
Yep.
She doesn't actually know. I only pray in the Godswood, Queen. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah,
Sansa.
I only pray in the Godswood. For Stannis or for your brother. It matters not who it is. It's still treason either way. And she says, I pray for Joff. And Cersei's like, why? Because he treats you so sweetly? And I love that. And then Cersei pours another cup of wine and passes it over to Sansa and is like, drink. Maybe if I get you a little drunk, it'll loosen your tongue.
And she takes a sip.
No,
and
drain the cup, bitch.
Dude.
Like,
fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's cruel. I mean, it reminds me of the scene in Breaking Bad where Walter Jr. drinks too much because Walt is like giving him the bottle and Hank's like, yo, chill. And he starts puking. Like, it's that. Like, you're forcing a fucking child to down
a...
And so...
She does, but she almost gags it up because it's like,
and her head is instantly swimming. And Cersei says, I lied earlier when you asked why Ilyn Payne was here. Would you like to know why? Truly. And Sansa's like, probably not. But Cersei doesn't wait for a reply, just waves her hand. And suddenly Sir Ilyn is just there.
Yeah, she didn't even realize he'd gotten back from taking the heads from those traitors earlier.
Striding from the shadows, silent as a cat.
This is terrifying.
With ice unsheathed, she remembers that Ned Stark kept this blade immaculate, cleaning it after every single use. Now, there is dried blood all along the blade that is turned more brown than red because it's so old. It's been there so long.
Yeah, it's probably Ned's blood, dude.
It's not clean. Like, that is tainted now. It's just...
That image. The way that... And I love how poignant that is to the North. Ice was a clean sword. It was like, when you were being beheaded by it, you weren't, like, it was a clean,
right,
just
it was a
cut.
long claw, like, ooh,
this
that's
is
cold, she's a sharp sword.
But this
is
vile. Like, it's this tainted, vile,
gross.
It's
the huntsman killing.
Yeah.
It's not the man who passes the sentence.
Exactly. And so I love that.
And it is, as much as it sucks that Ned Stark is dead and the defilement of his sword, it's cool that Sir Ilyn ends up with it. Someone this mysterious and creepy.
Seeming,
and ice just seems more malicious.
Because, and Cersei tells him, Sir Ilyn, tell Lady Sansa why you're here today.
Like, what the fuck?
This hollow clicking, rasping noise.
And then, Cersei, he says, like, she's translating, he is here for us, he says. Stannis may take the city, he may take the throne, but I'll not suffer him to judge me. I do not mean for him to have us alive. And Sansa's like, us? What the fuck? I'm not in this shit with you.
And she's like, you heard me. So you best get to praying the other way now, haven't you? Because I intend for... Even if the city falls, the Starks will have no joy in the House Lannister's fall.
She brushes the hair lightly from Sansa's neck as she says this.
What a savage cunt.
Yeah.
Just...
I mean,
fuck that it. Little, like, holy hell.
She knows, Cersei's smart and vindictive and petty, but she knows where this war started, and I don't think she's forgotten that it started with the Starks and the Lannisters.
I think that there's going to be a moment in the future. I think it would be kind of neat anyway, because there's that scene in the show where Sansa calls Littlefinger out when Arya kills him. For Sansa to have a similar style of scene where she's calling Cersei out, like, oh, you're here, perfect. You're now here to stand trial for these things. You remember when you forced for underage drinking, providing alcohol?
Underage. I'm sure that's what's gonna get Cersei nailed to the wall.
I think she's gonna have this dope scene where she's calling her out. Excuse me, ma'am. Or it would be cool to see.
Are you purchasing alcohol for minors?
Yeah. We're going to need to see your ID. What's your name? Take a seat on the curb, man.
Lannister. How do you spell that? L-A-N. All right. So that's Sansa 6.
Yeah.
And got an inductee? I do have an inductee. Mine's Sir Ilan Payne. And mainly ice and the defilement of it. It is such a good physical... The way he's stepping from the shadows, using the blade that Ned did. Ned did everything in the open light. He wasn't hiding. He wasn't this mysterious, ominous killer. It was... Yeah, if you died from Ned Stark, you could at least take honor. Like, it was going to be quick. It wasn't going to be, like... You don't know what Ilan's going to do with ice if he's killing you. It may not just be a beheading. It could be a let me fucking sever each of your Achilles tendons. Yeah. And so
job.
I love the at this point, near the end of Clash of Kings, the defilement of Ned's sword.
That juxtaposition.
And so
right
how
at the
far
end
it's come.
Of the two books, like, you're still seeing the sword.
Mm-hmm. And Sansa's still seeing the sword.
It's Sansa.
And everything that it meant. I mean, a knight's sword is his valor, is his honor. And that was Ned Stark's honor and valor. The man who passes the sentence. The fucking litany that his children repeat over and over was representative of ice. It was. And so to see Sansa seeing it's uncomfortable for her. She remembers specifically Ned cleaning it at the Heartswood every fucking time he did it. And just, So, Sir Ilan and the blade.
Nice. I've had a few that I would like, but I think I'm going to settle with Jacelyn Bywater.
Yeah.
Because dude's still protecting his city,
He's handling the shit,
he's stepped up ever since he replaced fucking Janos Slynt, since Tyrion appointed him.
Fuck yeah.
He's been doing dope shit for Tyrion, but he's also looking out for the city. And so they're like, yeah, we're at war. Those idiots are over there doing stupid shit. Get them out of there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go because he's looking out not because of Tyrion or necessarily because of Cersei. He wants the city to be able to return to some kind of reasonable living after the war.
I mean, fucking preach. I feel you.
No shit, dude.
It's interesting. I want to keep. He's one of the ones I want to keep an eye on at the end of Blackwater to see if he gets fucked.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jacelyn dies.
I think he dies or gets replaced. Yeah. But Jacelyn is a good one. That's a good one.
He's tight.
So those were our inductees' thoughts, feelings, and opinions on Sansa 6. We did get an inductee from our favorite French fry, Julian, who opens with a quote: "If I am ever a queen, I'll make them love me." Winterfell.
Fuck yeah.
Hello, boys. Hope you're doing fine there in America. I mean, land of the free, home of the brave. Am I right?
I know.
Living the fucking dream.
Didn't we just celebrate the
White People Independence Day?
4th.
Sure, we did.
Yeah, it's good, man. Thank you.
Happy Juneteenth. Belated Juneteenth, everybody. Not happy. I don't know if that's the greeting. Is it a happy Juneteenth?
No, I don't give a fuck. I don't know. Anyway, we're doing great. Thanks, Julian.
We're doing great. Thanks, Julian. America's awesome. Loved the last lines of the chapter, especially the last sentence. Reminded me of Ned, gone like he was introduced to us by beheading. Special mention also to the beautiful Queen Cersei and her wildfire eyes. Girl, you got them wildfire eyes. My inductee is going to be another special one, as it is King's Landing. Take it as an echo of the last chapter's choice of Aegon, as the city's name speaks for itself. In this chapter, I really liked how almost every part of the city and every different layer of the people living in it were depicted. The fighters on the walls with the hand, the king and the war captains, like the Hound, the highborn hidden in the castle, the rich citizens whose money seems useless in times of war, the poor that might know a sad ending, the faith keeping it all together between the small folks and the high lords. That was super interesting, and this battle ain't anything more than two kings fighting for the city of a king who landed here about 300 years ago. Brilliant. Valar Warharis.
Dang.
Yeah, I really, really, really like that inductee.
Great email, Julian. I really like the breakdown of the hierarchy there.
Yeah.
And
the faith Keeping it all together.
Yeah, it's something special there that's going on here in King's Landing. But that's neat to see that hierarchy, because I definitely think we'll see it splayed in different ways here coming up with the styles of, between Cersei and then the Faith Militant getting involved, and then all that, but then also with like Fagon coming and Dan, like all these different levels.
King's Landing does a great job of pointing out the caste system in a Game of Thrones, or in Westeros at least, of there are absolutely those at the bottom who suffer under the boots of those on top.
The people Varys is trying to help out.
Right, exactly. And so, excellent inductee and email, Julian. Thank you. Next, we're going to be jumping right back over to Tyrion. It's going to be Tyrion 14, I believe.
Yeah.
And still in the Blackwater here, folks.
Now, this is where we get to see his sortie out there, I believe.
Yeah.
And so
Tyrion's going out onto the boat.
And now, is this where Meryn Trant slashes his face up? Or
Couldn't tell you yet.
I think that's the end of this chapter.
One, yeah.
And so it's going to be a good one.
So send us inductees for that, yeah.
We're coming in towards the end of stuff. I think Tyrion has like 2 or 3 more chapters left.
Yeah.
We'll get you the exact number here as we get closer to it, but we're wrapping up Clash of Kings.
Coming in hot.
Here we go. We've already got some inductees for Storm of Swords. Keep sending those in, but I believe that should be about it. We'll catch you on the next one.
Valet to Harris.
Peace.